I think the best place to start is just with best team right now, because
Yeah.
as college basketball season has been going on here, I don't think many people anticipated the top of the rankings as we see them right now being the way that they look. So
Yeah.
it's been, I don't want to call it necessarily a major shock, but the the changing around of preseason perceptions, even by December, late December here, has been pretty staggering. And to me, there's one
Yep.
team that's been just head and shoulders above the rest, and they get my nod for best team in the country right now. It's the Connecticut Huskies, and I don't know if you have a different pick, disagree right there, but they have been dominant to start the year.
Yeah, this is my pick for sure. I think Connecticut is the best team in the country. I said that like a month ago that I thought they were the best team in the country, and people were like, wait, really? And I was like, yes, this team is crazy good defensively. They run great sets offensively. I think that this is the best team. And I mean, look, I really liked this Connecticut team coming into the year. I thought that they had a great shot to be like a top 15 second weekend team. Like I was like very in comparatively to where people were. And I am still surprised, I think, particularly by how good the offense is. I expected the defense to be quite good. Andre Jackson is one of the best defenders in the country. They play a really good defensive scheme. They have been, last year, they were not awesome defensively necessarily, if I remember correctly. Uh, but I thought that the personnel that they were bringing in was really going to help the defense in this fifth season under Dan Hurley. Jordan Hawkins, a little bit more athletic on the wing. Tristan Newton, 6'5" at the point of attack. Hassan Diarra, killer defender. Naheem Aline, really good defender. And I didn't know what to expect of Donovan Clingan, but Clingan has just been one of the breakout guys of this season so far in college basketball. So, yeah, Connecticut, I think, has the best defensive infrastructure. They are the honestly, like they look like the best coached team in the country.
Yeah.
They're the deepest team in the country. Like they have like 8 or 9 guys that I think could be reasonable starters. They evaluated super, super well in the transfer portal with guys like Naheem Aline, with guys
Yeah.
like Joey Calcaterra, who
Yeah.
was like a borderline all WCC guy that has stepped in and just been critical in terms of being able to knock down shots. But more than anything, they've evaluated really well in terms of recruiting. Andre Jackson, Jordan Hawkins, Donovan Clingan, obviously, Adama Sanogo. They have figured out these guys that are really, really excellent players that fit what they want to do. And it's worked on both ends. They have a group of guys that, for the most part, are very complete players, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But again, they just run killer stuff. Like they are together. They move on a string defensively. They're great at the point of attack defensively, not just good. And they have killer rim protection inside when Clingan is in there. I don't know, man. Like this team is like I think this team is awesome. Like really, really good.
They're tremendous from top to bottom. It starts with the depth that they have, kind of at every position, and the size that they have at every position. Like they're just big on the basketball court. When you have
Yeah.
2 big guys in Sanogo and Clingan that you can really trot out there and continue to have the rim protection, the interior scoring presence and touch that you need in order to break defenses down at the college level. Like that's a huge advantage. But then they're big at pretty much every other position. Like I think Calcaterra might be the smallest guy, maybe Diarra, who gets regular minutes for them. Alex Caravan has been really, really good as a freshman and a floor spacer. And Tristan Newton, like he's 6'5", kind of playing the point guard spot for them a lot of the time. They're huge, they're athletic, but the identity and how well coached they are is really what stands out to me. Like there is no night where they walk into a gym and don't just try to really pressure opponents and get into people. And that's a fun brand of basketball to watch on the defensive end of the floor, but it's so brutal to play against. Like teams that are relentless are the ones that kind of can keep this up from not just an early season spark here, but carry this all the way.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Like I'm struggling with the fact that like this team was not seen as like the number 1 team in the country. according to like the coaches poll. Like all due respect to Purdue. Purdue is really good. Purdue is absolutely terrific. But you watch this Connecticut team and the level they are at defensively as compared to a team like Purdue is just a completely different level. Like it's just really not even all that close, frankly. Like I love this Purdue team. Like I think they're terrific. I think Zach Edey's been terrific. This is another coaching staff with Matt Painter that has evaluated the hell out of recruits and figured out the exact guys that fit exactly into their scheme. I'd have them number 2 right now.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. Why this Connecticut team is not number 1. They're number 1 in the metrics. They are number 1. Like they have beaten great teams, not just good teams. Like they have beaten Oregon, Alabama, Iowa State, Florida, Butler. Like they have the wins to back it up. They've done so on a neutral. They have multiple road wins as well against Florida and Butler. Purdue, their lone road wins are an overtime game against Nebraska and a road win against a Florida State team that might be a dumpster fire. You could point to the fact that maybe Purdue has better wins from the PK 80 or PK 85, where they beat West Virginia, Gonzaga, and Duke. But like, I think Alabama is better than Gonzaga and Duke, frankly. I don't know, man. This is it's a bit bizarre to me.
I mean, again, Oregon, Alabama, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Florida, and Butler. 6 of their last 7 wins, all of them by double-digit points. No team has been able to eclipse 70 on them this year. I mean, dominant.
Let's be clear. They've won every game by double digits so far. Their closest win is Oklahoma State by 10. Oklahoma State's like a top 35 team. Like they're pretty good. The rest of their wins are, I believe, by 10 or more. This team isn't just like beating teams. They're beating the brakes off of teams. Like it's bad.
They're fantastic, Sam. Fantastic. And the Big East is always deep and always has some really good programs in it. But I don't think that there's that elite team that can go toe-to-toe with UConn at the top this year. Like I think Creighton is not quite there. Villanova is not quite there this year. Like this is going to be a potential run-the-table situation for the Huskies.
Like they went on the road and beat Florida and Butler by 20 plus. Yeah. And like both of those teams are like, maybe they could get to like the back, like maybe Florida is an NCAA tournament team. And then like Butler has a chance to be an NCAA tournament team. Like, I don't know, man. This is a great basketball team, I think. This is a legit great basketball team. Prospect wise, I mean, they have real NBA prospects, Jordan Hawkins, Andre Jackson, Donovan Clingan. Sonogo will get a shot at some point. They're talented. They're deep. They play together. They have great connectiveness defensively. They play with identity. They run great stuff offensively. It's a genuinely complete team. Like I don't know what the weakness is in terms of like when you look, like they have great ball movement. They're currently 11th in terms of assists per field goals made. I guess that like maybe you could say they foul a little bit too much, but that's what your like advantage is when you have 9 guys that you can play.
Right.
They force turnovers. Maybe you could say that like Tristan Newton and like Naheem Aline and some of those, Andre Jackson can get a bit turnover prone. Like maybe that's your argument. Like maybe you can like crank up the pressure on them a little bit, but they have like 5 ball handlers out there that can like break the press. So it's hard. It's hard to like pinpoint how you beat them. That's what I'm struggling with. Yeah. Like against Purdue, you have to have a guy that's 7'2" and 7 foot tall and like can bother Zach Edey. If you don't have that, then you basically just have to let him go nuts. And then you just have to like stay connected to the shooters and see what happens and hope that Edey has an off night. Like Nebraska, I think did a really good job of like kind of showcasing like maybe a bit of a like goal in terms of how you can do it. Against Connecticut, as a coach here, you coach basketball. This is where you're at. What is your strategy for beating Connecticut?
I really have no clue. I think that Purdue, like what I've seen a little bit success with, is if you can really go smaller and get the ball to the man that Edie's guarding, then dribble him out to the perimeter and either blow past him or use that as an avenue to get cutters and slashers downhill. You can beat Purdue that way, and you have to outscore Purdue, because if you're going to play smaller against them, Edie's going to get his. But
Yeah.
UConn, they're just so damn versatile. Like I don't really know what I'd want to give up. I think with individual guys, you can try to game plan for it. Like I'd sag way off Andre Jackson and try to turn him into more of a perimeter shooter and just dare him to do things there. I'd play Jordan Hawkins really, really tight and maybe top lock him, force him away from all of the down screening actions and handoffs that you get to him. Like there are individual things you can do against them. But from a they're so well rounded that they're going to find a way to beat you anyway.
Yeah, it's like the sheer number of individual things you have to do. There are so many of them that you're in all likelihood, the way defense works, it's going to break down at some point. You have to be so locked into every single assignment that it's just really hard. It's really, really hard to beat them.
Yeah, like if you top lock Hawkins and you try to sag off Jackson, like, okay, they're just going to throw the ball inside of Sanogo and Klingon the entire game. If you double those guys in the post, they've got enough perimeter shooting around them with Hawkins and Caravan and Newton and all of these other guys that can just stretch the floor. Like they can beat you any type of way you try to attack them. I think it's more of a pick your poison based on what your personnel is if you're going up against UConn. But again, it's about identifying the individual mismatches that you want to try to negate.